Professor is helping us put some things in perspective.
So joining us now is Eric Gartsky, professor of political science at UC San Diego. Good morning to you, Eric.
Good morning.
So now let's talk about this morning and where the invasion stands. We're hearing that, men are being told to stay back in Ukraine. They're trying to fight back, but is there a chance or are they being overwhelmed?
Well, the kind of warfare that the Ukrainians are engaged in right now is more a strategy of punishment. They can't resist the full might of the Russian army indefinitely, but they can make it very, very expensive for Putin. And alongside some of the things that are happening in the West, like sanctions, this might potentially cause the Russians to reconsider their actions. Probably not, but that's the best shot they have right now.
So people are still waking up here this morning. They caught wind of this yesterday and shaking their heads saying, there's a war happening? What is going on? Can you explain to us why Putin is doing this, why he is making this move? I know there's a lot of backstory to this, but in general, why is he so interested in taking over portions of Ukraine?
Well, that is a $64,000 question. I think one thing that your viewers might help them put it in the right frame is think about your favorite World War II movie, because that's essentially what's happening in bits and pieces of Ukraine right now. Old style, lots and lots of tanks, lots of explosions, bombs dropping. So why is Putin doing this? Because he's scared. Because he sees the prospects for a larger Russian empire slipping away from his hands, and he feels that he has to act now, or there won't be an opportunity in the future.
And of course, in the middle of all of this, innocent lives, right? I mean, at least 137 people have been killed so far, and these attacks keep coming, it looks like. I mean, is Putin going to just take over Ukraine? How are things looking right now? Is there hope for Ukraine?
I'd be ready to start adding zeros to that number in the days and weeks ahead. As the Russian army, the ground forces engage the Ukrainian forces more directly in battle, as they start entering urban centers, you're going to see hundreds, if not thousands, of casualties. Many of your viewers will have seen some video of Russian tanks entering Ukraine from Belarus. And on some of those tanks, there's a whole bunch of pipes on top. Those are rocket launchers. They're not a precision way of war. They're not the kind of things where you see video cameras going into a particular target. They're designed to blow up city blocks. Wow. And that means kill just about everyone and everything in a neighborhood.
You're looking at some of the wreckage right now where that has been happening. Professor, what would it take for the U.S. to intervene in Ukraine beyond its presence in the surrounding countries? I know there are NATO countries surrounding this, and should the invasion go into that could change things quickly.
Yes, certainly. And I think Putin is keenly aware of that, and he has no intention for that to happen. Sometimes in war, often accidents happen and things go a direction that nobody planned. But I think both sides are going to be very careful to avoid a larger contest because it's in no one's interest. Now, how much the U.S. does in this fight really depends on the American people. If your viewers, as voters, decide that they want the United States to take certain actions, they can prevail on their local congressperson. But right now, the political view seems to be that the American public has no stomach for direct involvement in this war. And so most of the actions the U.S. and other Western nations are taking have to do with economic sanctions.
Oh, and Professor, I mean, when you said the number of casualties will go up by that many, it really is heartbreaking. We have so many families here with loved ones in Ukraine who are really worried for them, so many trying to get out and they can't. Is there anything we can do? Is there any kind of hope that we can have that they're going to be okay?
Well, so many of the non-combatants are leaving the area, and that's probably a wise decision right now, if not a heartbreaking one. But it's very hard to do mechanized warfare. The United States military is very, very careful and has some extraordinarily sophisticated tools to avoid what they call collateral damage when you blow up or hurt things that you're not supposed to. The Russians are less committed to that, and they have fewer tools. And if you look at, for example, their conflicts in Grozny, in Chechnya, excuse me, thousands of civilians were killed, and that's a much smaller area. Ukraine has 45 million people. Many of them live in cities like San Diego, and when you start bombing neighborhoods and firing rockets into urban centers, you're going to kill lots of innocent civilians. Right. There's just no way to avoid that. So what Putin has really done is triggered a mass murder. And he's done this because he wants to make Russia great again, to use a phrase that's come up in politics in the U.S. And people who admire that, I think, are admiring literally a war crime and a war criminal.
Yeah, it is certainly not a movie. It is real. It is a real tragedy unfolding right now as we speak. Professor Eric Gartsky, political science professor at UC San Diego. Always appreciate your time, Professor. Thanks for the insight here this morning.
Thank you.